Alright, well, Jumbo, everybody, my name is Robin. I am going to be your safari guide aboard Simba 1 today on our photo safari. Now, if you folks do have cameras or cell phones, you are more than welcome to use those. Take as many photos as you would like. Now, just make sure you keep a tight grip on those cameras, as well as any other personal belongings you may have brought on board with you. Unfortunately, if anything does fall off the truck, that is where it will be staying. I'm not allowed to stop and retrieve anything for you. Now, there is a pretty good reason for that. There are lots of wild animals out here. And if you look right above your heads, we do have an animal spotting guide right up there to help you identify some of the species we might be seeing today. Now, that's a pretty long list up there. We probably won't see every single one of those, but we usually have pretty good luck. I will do my best to point out everything I see for you as we drive through the reserve. Now, one last reminder here before we head on into the reserve. I just have to ask everyone does remain fully and completely seated for me at all times. So that means no standing up for taking pictures, no swapping seats if the left side of the truck is suddenly better than the right side of the truck. Of course, that does go for those smaller travelers as well. They can sit on your lap or on the bench next to you, but either way, they too need to be seated. Please don't hold them up over the side of the truck or pass them across the roads for a little bit better view. Now, as soon as we get clearance from the warden, we are going to head on into the reserve. We're actually going to head into the Little Ituri Forest. There are lots of dense foliage, trees and bushes and things for all the animals to hide behind, so sometimes they can be pretty tough to spot. They also have some pretty good camouflage as well, so they're really tough to see sometimes. Now, we all checked out that animal spotting guide. Is there anything up there that anybody really wants to see today?
What do you want to really see?
The antelope.
Giraffes. Do you guys know there are baby giraffes out here?
You want
Yes,
to see the baby
there
giraffe?
are 3 of them. Hopefully we get to see them. Should be out on the savannah, so we'll keep an eye out for those baby giraffes. Anything else before we head on in?
Tiger.
Oh, no tigers in Africa. Those tigers are over in Asia, but once we're done, you can head over into Asia and maybe see some tigers over there. But we might see lions and cheetahs. All right, now it does look like we have the all clear, so we are going to head on in here to the Little Ituri Forest.
You know, I think there's another ride that has a Jeep, honey. I got confused. We're going to do this 2 times.
For all those animals here. Sometimes they like to hide. It's really good camouflage, keeping them safe from predators. Ooh, but it looks like I see something over here on the right-hand side. If you can see kind of zebra legs sticking out of those branches right over there. That is actually an okapi. Kind of looks like it's related to the zebra with all those stripes there, but it's actually one of the only known relatives of the giraffe. Now, they're pretty shy and reclusive, probably why that one's hiding behind those bushes there. They actually weren't discovered by the Western world until about 1901. Now, watering holes like this one over here on the left-hand side, they are essential to life out here in the forest, and they're a pretty important gathering place for a lot of the animals that live out here. Now, sometimes we get really lucky, and we do get to see black rhinos. Now, unfortunately, black rhinos are a very rare sight. They have been poached to near extinction. There are only about 5,000 left in the entire world. A lot of people think the horns that they carry contain magical qualities, but they're actually just made of keratin, which is the same protein that your hair and nails are made out of. It can grow up to about 6 inches a year, and it looks like our lucky day. I can't see its horn, but I can see a black rhino laying down right over here on the left-hand side. As you can see, black rhinos are very big animals. They can actually weigh up to about 3,000 pounds apiece. They can charge about 35 miles an hour. They're basically indestructible except in the hands of humans. But they do have really terrible vision. They can only see about 10 to 12 feet in front of them, which is probably one of the reasons why they are poached so heavily and so easily.
Oh, look at
now,
that.
I do see some antelopes right up ahead of us, and actually there's a couple more of them right over here on the right-hand side, hiding in the bushes. These are called bongos. Now, the bongos are very shy and reclusive. They are actually known as the ghosts of the forest. You can see both males and females carry horns, angled back to help them make their way through some of this thick brush and also defend themselves against predators if they need to.
That's right, that's a bongo.
Now this one, getting ready to cross the road right here, this is called a greater kudu. It's actually the second tallest antelope in Africa. Now these 2 I see right here are female. I can tell because they don't have horns. The males carry horns. And they can weigh up to about 750 pounds apiece.
No, they're not fat. But they're pretty big. Look at that, honey.
As you can see, the animals, they're not shy. They like to get nice and close. They're very used to us driving through here, so it's actually a good thing. It makes for some pretty good views for you folks. Really awesome pictures. And you can see that other bongo right there. Now we had some pretty awesome luck here in the Little Ituri Forest. We are going to head on over to the Safi River. Now a lot of times over there we get to see Nile crocodile, sometimes hippopotamus as well. Now hippos, they usually spend the majority of their day in and around the water. Most of the time they're completely submerged. That's actually how they keep themselves cool out here in the African heat. So a lot of times you'll just see shadows or bubbles right at the surface. That's usually all we get to see of those hippos. It actually looks like we're going to have a pretty awesome view over here on the right-hand side. A little further forward, I see 2 hippos right there. Now you can see their ears, eyes, and nostrils are right on top of their head, which is perfect for an aquatic animal like the hippo. It allows them to come up for a quick breath of air before they dive back down. Now hippos, they don't actually need to come up for air very often. They can hold their breath for up to about 8 minutes at a time down there. So make sure everybody does stay completely seated. No swapping seats, guys. Now if you can't see these ones over here on the right, you can see there's a huge group of them over here on the left-hand side. Now a big group of hippos together like this is actually called a bloat. And then right in front of that bloat of hippos, we also have some pink-backed pelicans on this island. Now the pink-backed pelican, they actually get that name from the bright pink their feathers turn during mating season. Now believe it or not, the view we got of those hippos today is actually a really awesome one. Hippos usually won't come out of the water till nighttime when it's a little bit cooler. That's actually when they come out to find food. They can walk up to about 6 miles and they'll usually eat about 150 pounds of vegetation a night, which is probably why hippos weigh over 5,000 pounds apiece. It's tough to tell when they're in the water, but they're actually very, very big animals. Well, speaking of big animals, looks like we have some Nile crocodile this way, over here on the left-hand side. Now, Nile crocodile like this, they can reach up to about 20 feet in length, which is actually as long as a giraffe is tall.
We'll do that next
Now, a lot of times we do see them sitting in the sun with their jaws open.
Oh, crocodile.
They are cold-blooded animals, and sitting like that, it helps them to release some of their excess body heat through their mouths. They don't have sweat glands like you or I do to help cool themselves off. Now, those jaws, they are very, very powerful. Over 2,000 pounds of pressure per square inch, enough to crush the bones of their prey. And if everyone thought those hippos were pretty impressive for holding their breath for about 8 minutes, Nile crocodile, they can actually hold their breath for up to about 2 hours at a time. Now here we are getting pretty close to the savannah here, folks. We're actually going to see a completely different ecosystem than the ones we've seen so far. And speaking of different, you can see this tree over here on the right-hand side. That's called a baobab tree. Sometimes known as the upside-down tree. Kind of looks a bit like it was planted upside down by mistake. But actually it does go leafless about 9 months out of the year to conserve water. So a lot of times we'll see tuscan hoof marks in the trunks of those trees from all the animals digging and trying to get just a little drink of water. It's usually very scarce out here on the savannah. Now, speaking of savanna, this is one of the best views in the entire reserve. These Serengeti grasslands, they stretch for hundreds of miles and serve as a superhighway for millions of migrating animals across East Africa every year. And this is why the Harambe Wildlife Reserve was established back in 1971 to help protect all this beautiful African wildlife you can see around us. And actually the name Harambe, it does mean working together, and that is exactly what we are doing here, working towards conservation. Now you folks can see the landscape out here on the savannah. It's actually created and maintained entirely by all of the animals who live here. We have elephants who are kind of like our bulldozers. They come charging in to knock down some of these trees to eat. And then the giraffes that we'll hopefully see a little later, they're kind of like our pruning shears. They just trim up the leaves at the top of these trees, let in a little bit more light for all of these grasses to spread. For all of our lawnmowers, those Ankole cattle, the white-bearded wildebeest, and other large antelopes. They just mow down all this grass for us, make room for new shoots. For even smaller animals like the springboks, the warthogs, they just trim up all the edges for us, make everything look nice and neat. So in a balanced ecosystem like this one, there is plenty of food for everyone. Nobody is going hungry out here on the savannah. Now you can see these reddish-brown coats of earth over here on the left-hand side. Those are actually termite mounds. And then just past these termite mounds, we also have a herd of sable antelope.
Look at the antelope.
Now we also have some babies in this herd as well. Kind of tough to see because of the grass. If you can see the smaller ones there without any horns. Those are the babies there. Now the adults do carry horns, both males and females. They can reach up to about 5 feet in length. Used for sparring, sometimes mating rituals as well. They are actually one of the only antelopes out here that will actually use those horns as a defense mechanism against predators. Most of their antelopes, they'd at least try running away first. But not the sable, they're very brave. They'll get down on their front 2 knees, shake those horns at anything they think might be a threat. Try and scare them away, even if it is much larger and much more dangerous than them, such as a lion or a cheetah. Now you can see this termite mound over here on the left-hand side, nice and tall. Make a great scratching post for an elephant baking out in the hot African sun all day. They are as hard as concrete. Now all that scratching, it does sometimes make them break off or wear down, but that is okay too. Those smaller antelopes, like the sables we just saw, they'll get their front 2 feet up on there once that happens. Get a little bit better view, that way they can watch out for predators. Now termites, they don't actually live in the termite mounds we see above the ground. They live in little burrows right beneath them, but there's still lots and lots of little holes in there to serve as entrances and exits for the 6 million termites that usually live in those termite mounds. They catch some of the breeze as well, cool the whole place down. It's kind of like the termites' personal air conditioning system. Now it does look like I see some giraffes up there, and it looks like I might see a baby giraffe up in those trees right here. They're going to disappear on us here in just a second, and we're going to come around that corner and get to see them just a little bit better. It looks like before we get to those giraffes, though, we do have some animals hiding under these bushes here to the left. Looks like some white-bearded wildebeest. To see them hiding out in the shade right here, trying to keep cool. Now the name wildebeest in Afrikaans, it does mean wild beast. From the front, they kind of look fierce and menacing. They have really long white beards and horns as well. It's actually how they got their name.